Good morning, everyone. My name is Iris Rodriguez Rosa. I am your Bronx Parks Commissioner, and welcome here to Boone Playground. I have to say that today is an absolutely wonderful day. The weather is cooperating with us, right? But it is a day that is what I say a bittersweet day for me personally, and for us here when we talk about the Bronx and we talk about all the things that our elected officials have been able to do. And I have to say that today is basically the last official event that we're having here in the playground in the Bronx. And I will say that for me personally, one of the gentleman that is going to speak about this project is someone that I have to stop speaking because I'll get emotional about it, right? But this gentleman has always been wonderful about being able to provide so much funding for so many projects in the Parks Department. This particular project here that's going to take effect, it's a combined effort of 3 different elected officials that have combined their efforts to be able to put $12.2 million. $12.2 million, ladies and gentlemen, for a playground that is a playground that is going to be a playground for all children, for children with special abilities. So I have to say that for me, it's an honor and it's a privilege to be working with these gentlemen, with our elected officials, because they have not only been friends to me personally, but they've been friends to parks, and thereby being friends to everyone and every constituent in the borough of the Bronx. They have provided the funding for many of the playgrounds in the parks. So today is a wonderful day, and I would like to give the opportunity for a gentleman that is given so many of his years to the Bronx community. He's given of his, his blood, his days, his times, and his dedication to the community. So I'd like to first, if you don't mind, introduce your very own Borough President, Rubén Díaz, Jr.
Thank you, Commissioner Iris. It's been a wonderful pleasure working with you as you've been an amazing Bronx Commissioner of Parks. The fact is that my political career is coming to an end. I started being an elected official in this area at the age of 21 as a district leader. I ran for the New York State Assembly at 22. I didn't win that race, but at 23 I won and served in the New York State Assembly, represented this area for 7 terms. And over the last 12 and a half years, I've been your Bronx Borough President. And we've been able to do great things around economic development, around housing. You see a lot of housing. We've totally transformed not only this part of the Bronx, but many corners of the borough. For me, it's been a tremendous pleasure and a dream to see the Starlight Park has been done, to see the boulevard here, to see the Bruckner-Sheridan interchange, $1.8 billion that we were able to get the state to allocate, to see concrete park, clean up the Bronx River, something that I started early on in my political career. As a child, as a teenager, we used to swim in that murky water with cars were dumped there. And today, with all of that said, is one of my favorite announcements. Thanks to the idea of Marcos Crespo, who was my assembly member, who is no longer serving with us. He's at Montefiore. Thanks to the partnership of my father, Reverend Rubén Díaz, the city council member, as well as my Kumbara Chief here, Rafael Salamanca, we've been able to get together, work with you, plan with folks, to say that while we have a state-of-the-art park across the street that's available for everyone, that we need a state-of-the-art sensory park for our children, for our families, especially those with physical and emotional needs, special needs, for those with hearing loss, for those who are visually impaired. It is time that we not only give our children access to parks, but to give all of these families a park of their very own, a park where they can enjoy, a park where they can make memories. And it's great to see that Principal Curry's with us here from 811, and the assistant principal. The fact that every single day they work with our families and our kids in these populations. Let's give them a strong round of applause. Now, we've done portions of parks. We've done this in Pelham Bay with Sensory, but when we're speaking about dedicating an entire park, this has to be the catalyst for many more parks to come, so that we have and we awaken the consciousness of the way that we do planning, not only with parks, but with housing, with transportation, with restaurants, so that children with needs, with special needs, with families with children or families with special needs can feel that planning is done with them in mind. You know, I want to give special shout out to a particular family, the McLean family, especially Kyle and his bride. They have been staunch advocates and supporters so that we can have more and more access and more parks in every corner of the borough. And we want to make sure that this is just the beginning. We also need to make sure that as we move forward, that this is just the announcement of the funding. This is not the announcement of the design. The design has to be done with the school. In fact, the design should be done in the school, with the parents, with the families, with the children. They are the ones who should be the driving force in the design of this park, Daniel Boone Park. And lastly, let me just say this. I think that the park's name should be changed. That the name should be changed from Daniel Boone. No disrespect to Daniel Boone or anybody who appreciates Daniel Boone, but this park should be named after someone who has dedicated their lives to ensure that children and families with children with special needs have been thought of and have been taken care of. And so as we move forward, I look forward to the day where we can not only break ground, but also do the ribbon cutting, and so our children can play here, can enjoy here, and that the park can have a name of an advocate or an activist that has dedicated their lives to ensure that children with special needs have their very own place to make memories, so that they can laugh, so that they can smile. And so without further ado, I just want to say thank you, Iris. Thank you and your team for all of the ribbon cuttings and the groundbreakings and all of the announcements. It's been an honor and a pleasure and the time and a dream of a lifetime. And thank you, Rafael Salamanca, for your partnership, for your dedication, and for always putting your heart and your money where your mouth is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Borough President. Thank you so very much, and I will continue to call you Mr. President even if you're not in office, so know that. Now, without further ado, I'd like to be able to introduce the gentleman who has spearheaded this project, who has lived and breathed it, and he is so committed and engaged to want to be able to make sure that his community and his constituency receives all the benefits of what is needed in our parks and playgrounds. So without further ado, the council member for the 17th Councilmanic District, Rafael Salamanca.
Thank you. Good morning. And thank you, Commissioner. And thank you, Mr. Borough President, for those kind words. I cannot take full credit for this. The Borough President spoke about the vision. I remember getting a call from my good friend, my former Assembly Member, Marcos Crespo, and he had a vision. I think Marcos had a lot of visions. He wants to do a lot of things throughout the Bronx, right? He had a vision for something underneath the Bruckner, but he always drove through here, and he had a vision as to how can we take this space that it's not well used, or better yet, it's not well maintained, it needs a big time facelift. And how do we take this space and really ensure that we're providing a safe space for children with special abilities? Yes, we have, and notwithstanding that we have PS 811, which is across the street, which focuses on addressing and helping kids with special abilities. So we called Commissioner Rodriguez and we said, hey, we have an idea. We want to take this playground here and convert it into an all-inclusive sensory playground. what is the total cost for this? And she gave us a cost. I think it was a little less than $10 million at the time. But as she came and confirmed, the dollar amount went up to about $12.2 million. And I had a conversation with the borough president, and he says, Salamanca, in this budget process, I think I can come up with about $3 million. I have other priorities, and I understand that because Orchard Beach is getting done because of Bronx Borough President Rubén Díaz, Jr. Just so you guys remember that. But he says, I may be able to allocate some other funding to this project, and maybe in the next budget, we can get some more money and get this completed. And so I said, well, let me speak to the speaker. I was able to speak to the speaker, and we were able to add the $3 million that the borough president's allocating. My neighboring council member, who was a former state senator of this area, he was able to get $1.2 million. And I was able to convince the speaker of the city council to put the entire funding of $8 million so that we can fund this entire project. And so there are no more excuses why we cannot get this done. The money's there. Now we have to hold Parks Capital Division to the fire. We need to get the procurement. We need to get the design. I agree with the borough president. It must happen with the school and the students because this park is being created and built directly for kids with special abilities. And I'm just excited that we're able to make this announcement with you, Mr. Borough President, for really standing up and helping us bring true dollars and true change to the borough of the Bronx. And before I end, just so you know, this was a $1.8 billion investment that we're seeing here next to Boone Playground. That project was done thank you to the work and the relationships that our borough president Rubén Díaz Jr. and Assemblyman Marcos Crespo had with the governor's office. And because of that, we are transforming the entire South Bronx. And I just want to say thank you for your commitment and thank you for delivering for us here in the Bronx.
Thank you so very much, and we continue to be able to develop the wonderful South Bronx. What I'd like to do at this moment is to be able to introduce, we have two individuals here from PS 811 to be able to talk about what is it that they feel will be happening here in this playground. So without further ado, we have Jennifer Curie, who's the principal, and we have Karina Feliz, who's the assistant principal. I'm going to ask the principal Curie to be able to come and say a few words as to what their expectations are for this playground.
Thank you. First, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone involved in this. As an educator in this Bronx community for over 18 years, this park is vital to what we do in our building. When we're talking about outdoor space, you know, we are right across the street. We are a very large District 75 school, and all of our students, we are always advocating for access, and this park is really answering that call. We have over 200 students with autism, so to be able to come out here and really be a part of the planning in such an amazing space really means the world to our community and also the local community. We've utilized this park every year, whether it's in the spring or the summer for trips. We have our students out here, our teachers, engaging in lessons in this space. So to have it filled with the access that they need is such an amazing idea for us as a school community. So again, I just want to say a huge thank you. And we just hope that we can look at this park in however many years and look back at this moment and say we were part of that planning and we all as a community came together to give our amazing students access. So thank you so much. I can't tell you how excited we are about this. Thank you.
Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to also thank you to the press and to the media who's always here and always supportive of our elected officials to be able to document such moments. Thank you to the park staff that always tries to do all that they can to make sure that our parks and playgrounds are well maintained, and to my staff in my office, and of course to the staff of the elected officials, because you are the ones that also stand, you know, side by side with them and helping them and to be able to do all that they do. So thank you. So without further ado, we now will do the signing. Oh,
I also want to shout out all of the organizations that have been on us on issues like this, namely Puzzle Life. Shout out to Puzzle Life.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Absolutely. Okay, so now we go to the signing of the check.
Yes, thank you for doing this while I'm here.
Go.
How are you doing, sir? How are you? Nice to meet you. And I was hoping for you to let me know a little bit more about the inside of this park and what is the plan.
Yes, so this Daniel Boone playground has been here for years. You can tell when you look around, it's obvious that it needs a major facelift. Across the street, we have a school where they specialize in children with special needs, right, or disabilities.
Right.
And there was a former assembly member had a vision one time where how can we partner with the school and provide their school children with special needs and a safe space, a green space where they can play and actually the name of it is actually called the sensory playground, and so we spoke with the Parks Department to see if that's a reality, what's the cost of it. They gave us a cost of $12.2 million, and my office was able to partner with the Borough President's office and Council Member Rubén Díaz, Sr., and we were able to allocate $12.2 million, which is a big deal.
Right.
Times like this, for an amount this big, it may take a couple of budgets to put the funding together. We were able to do this in one budget, and so now we have to hold the Capital Division and the Parks Department accountable to ensure that they start the procurement process so that we can start construction and we can give our children in the community this playground back to them as soon as possible.
All right, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And I look forward to having this done very fast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you.
Good evening.
No, es nada más para ahí. Es nada más para ahí. ¿Oye ahí?
Ya.
Okay. Como yo lo tengo conectado.